Hello and welcome to The Podcast Is Mine. I'm Bhushan Kumar.
And I'm Sunny Gruel.
Hey, Sunny Gruel, what's happening?
I'm good, Bhushan. How are you?
I am loving your ensemble today. This is so like Saved by the Bell, like, complimentary. I'm here for this double denim.
It's Zach Morris, not, what was it?
AC Slater?
No, the other guy.
Oh, Screech.
Screech, rest in peace, Screech.
I know, but Screech's wardrobe wasn't that bad though.
Well, to be fair, you know what? Now as a retro look back, yes. But at the time, we weren't rooting for Screech, were we?
We were rooting for Mr. Belding.
I was rooting for Screech.
For Screech?
No, for
Zach Morris. Oh my gosh. And do you know him and Mario Lopez, they, so I think
Look
it's
the same.
Yeah, they have not aged a day.
He looks amazing. Mario's in, he's like a presenter on loads of stuff. And I see him every time and I'm like, how do you look identical to when you were a teenager?
Did you ever see him in Nip Tuck?
No.
Oh my God, I'm going to send you that clip.
Send it to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, but he's still, like, they're in their 50s and they look still like they're in their 20s.
There would be. That makes sense, actually. It does.
It's insane, isn't it? Well, the other thing they had in common is something that we're going to talk about today. It's those marvelous bonces of hair. Like
and still, even now.
Yeah. Like, Zach had that big pompadour of blonde black hair. And then, like, obviously, AC Slater, Mario Lopez had those gorgeous curls, and
he did.
and then even like Screech as well had like the kind of Jufro thing going on.
I'm trying to remember his hair. Yeah, it was
remember
like
that
a little
tight curls,
tight
wasn't it?
perm.
Yeah, it was like a perm.
Yeah,
Perm is probably the better way to describe
Nice.
it. Yeah, and so what we're going to do is we're going to open the secret diary of his own one ho. So
who's going to do the face?
The face card today. Should we both do it? Why don't we?
Let's
so
do
like,
it
so if you're watching us, this is how we do it. So we just kind of like look at the iPad. And then, so if I show you, do you want to like do that as well?
Oh no, I broke the screen again.
Oh no, again. Sonny, I can't keep affording to buy these new screens, honestly. So I thought we could talk about, before we go on to our main feature today,
please.
I thought we could talk about iconic hairstyles of the past.
Good, yes.
So are there any that come to mind when you think of iconic hairstyles? Put you on the spot.
Who is my favorite? I mean, this is not my favorite, but it sticks out in my mind as one that I replicate. I love this. Remember
Robert De Niro, Taxi Driver.
I've never seen it.
Oh, if you're watching it, you'll know what I mean.
How dare you? I'm going to Google it. I'm very depressed, aren't I?
No, you won't. It's a compliment.
Oh, okay.
It's iconic.
So when I was watching back in the day, Pop Idol.
Oh.
Remember Gareth Gates did the little twisty thing?
Oh, no.
I did that at school. I wish I had a picture. I need to find one. He did those little he got the.
Is it the curtain? So the centre parting.
No, he had like a crop
the
top,
spike,
but then he twisted them. So he had a little one, and I did that. And I came to school one day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, you've got Gareth Gates." I was like, "Excuse me, I've elevated that look. I've made it even higher fashion."
Oh my God, that is such a throw. I still remember for Pop Idol. So because I'm 100 years old, I remember that when that Pop Idol happened, I went to on the finale.
You didn't go in live.
No, if only I wasn't that notorious then. Like all that famous.
We went to see.
We went to see X Factor where you saw Pink.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
See her live?
Do you remember? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember.
I can't remember was it 2016 or 2017?
Yeah,
2017. Because 2016. Oh my God, yeah, it was the Adele.
Yes, you hooked me up.
That was amazing.
It was like,
but going back to Gareth Gates, I remember in the final, you remember it was like Will Young versus Gareth Gates.
Yeah, that was the best.
That was when
and Will deserved to win. Everyone was like, please, Will win.
I know. Me and my younger brother used to make fun of like that moment, when you did the like we used to do that to each other. It's like there's no milk left in the fridge. But I remember I went to this party and there was two rooms, and one room was a Gareth Gates room, one was a Will Young room. And
which one did you go to?
We went to the Will Young room because then just because the Gareth Gates one was full up.
Oh my God.
So when he
with
lost,
teenage girls probably.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we were teenagers.
Well, you were maybe. I was 100 years old.
No, you weren't.
Like, I'm a vampire.
Absolutely.
But so you did the Gareth Gates look.
I did the Gareth Gates look. That is one that stuck out as an iconic one that I had kind of implemented.
Yeah.
But tell me about you. What is one of your iconic look? And don't give me the Naomi side part. The long.
that is iconic. You know how much I love the
Marlon
Naomi
Hampton
side
did
part
that too. Remember?
Remember? Oh my
In the
God.
reunion.
That's one of our go-tos. Do you remember when you were showing me the reunion? We were watching it at your house. So as always, we're talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it was that season, yes. And Marla's dressed in red, and she just sat on the couch, just kind of pursing her lips, and
she looked fierce. That perfectly symmetrical face of hers. Oh my gosh, beautiful.
And then that was the whole.
That was season
With
6?
Sheree.
Was that the season 6?
Yeah. And yeah, if you've never watched this before, don't
Best
worry.
season in
you
history.
have got to watch it. Do you know, for me, it's such a basic bitch thing to say, but you know, my iconic hairstyles are from Friends.
Oh, Jennifer Aniston, the bomb.
Jennifer Aniston's Bob, and then like also like the male hairstyles as well. So thinking of David Schwimmer, like, you know, he used to have like the kind of gelled hair.
Yes, yeah.
And
They're
like,
really big. He's got a fantastic hairline.
yeah, absolutely.
Really solid. Yeah.
Really like, you know, and really high, low down, and then Matt
Bit
LeBlanc.
Neanderthal though. When it's too low, we'll talk about this later. It's a little Neanderthal.
It's a bit of a dip it low, yeah. But like thinking of like Matt LeBlanc's hairstyles as well, and like, you know, Matthew Perry. And then also like Monica. So I loved it when Monica, Courtney
Monica
Cox.
from Brandy and Monica.
Oh yeah, we need to get our Monicas correct. So Courtney Cox, and I remember like, you know, the episode when Phoebe cuts her hair, and she's like, you know, that's how he wears it. Do you remember that joke?
I don't remember. I did like Friends, but
Yeah.
I've seen it once a long time ago. I've never rewatched it. I'm not a
you're not the thingy.
yeah, I'm not a Gen Z. I've seen it, but they've grown up on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was there when it was back on Channel 4.
Wow.
It used to come at 9 o'clock on a Thursday. It was the highlight of our week, and you used to tape it so you could watch it again.
Wow.
Kids, honestly, I'm telling you. But that was such a huge hair deal, because I remember then Jennifer Aniston got a deal with L'Oreal.
She did. I do remember that.
And I remember that walking to school every day, there's basically 3 billboards. I don't know if I've told you 3
From
billboards.
Ebbing, Missouri.
So there's these 3 billboards. So basically, I had to walk past the Holland Park roundabout in London, which is
So
West
bougie.
London.
So bougie. I used to walk past on my way home.
Listen, this was before West. This is pre-Westfield. Westfield wasn't even thought about
What
at this
was it
point.
like before?
It was Shepherd's Bush was just. It was tough.
The ghetto?
The ghetto.
Was there a white refrigerator, honey?
I didn't want to say it, but it was rough. And I remember there was 3 billboards there, and at that time, I mean, this is so iconic. So one of the billboards was L'Oreal, and it had Jennifer Aniston, Claudia Schiffer, and I can't remember who. I think it might have been Liberty Ross as the 3rd model, and it just said "Because you're worth it." And it was just such an iconic thing to see as a teenager. Every day going to school and back. But there was 2 other billboards as well, and they also had like iconic shows on them. One was Sex and the City.
Oh my god.
So it's just like season 1, it's just like
so before you even knew what it was.
yeah. It was just like a red background, the 4 of them wearing black dresses, and it was like, if sex is a battlefield, meet the generals.
And what did
Channel
you think
4,
of
10
that?
o'clock. And I was just like, well, obviously at that time, it's like, you know, we weren't allowed to watch it.
No,
'Cause-
I didn't watch it until I was much older because I just didn't have any access. I thought this is just too crude. I'm never going to be able to get.
Exactly. Yeah. So Channel 4 used to always get those like massive billboards, and I was just like, oh my god. But I remember that hair moment in particular, the Jennifer Aniston, Claudia Schiffer, and just seeing that every morning, and then like, you know, and that time I had hair, so I was like, my hair doesn't look like that.
like,
Why
I need
doesn't
to
it
make
look
it bounce.
Yeah. Well, how do I get that? You know, because I was well, actually, we'll talk more about it in a moment. We come to our main feature, but I had, you know, my hair was naturally straight, which was a big thing.
Beautiful.
Like,
I
yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then-
Long as well.
And I remember everybody having to use the ironing tongs, and oh my god, all of
The
that.
tongs were so big.
Yeah. But anyway, so why don't we jump straight to our main feature then?
We can do. Let's go into it. Yeah.
Let's go into it. So we'll be right back after this. All right, and we are back. So we are talking today about a subject that we both know a lot about.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
About being stunning and beautiful. This
yes,
is what I was going to
exactly.
talk about. But no, seriously, hair loss. It's one of those things that's really kind of come into, like, in the kind of collective consciousness. I feel like there was a time when it was, especially male hair loss, but also as well female hair loss as well is like a massive thing. Obviously, we can only speak to the male pattern hair loss, but it's interesting how much. I suppose we'll jump into it. So why don't we start with you first, Sunny? Do you want to maybe talk us through your journey?
So I suppose growing up with a dad who had no hair, Mum would always joke. She was like, I hope you get my genes. And I was like, well, and I remember one of my friends told me once, she was like, you know, you inherit your mum's
mum's
for
genes,
your
yeah.
hair. I was like, my uncles don't have their hair either. And I remember saying that to my friends once. She was like, well, then you're screwed. I was like, oh, great. So it was always a bit of a, oh no, there's this time limit on my appearance and my looks. And I connected the two so closely together. And that always felt really like threatening, to be honest. And especially when like I loved my hair so much, I would like style it in so many different. I mean, not just the Gareth Gates look. I did the Ross slick back too.
Oh, you did that
also
too?
I've got. You know what? We'll have to dig out some pictures for the post for this. But it was just a big part of my identity as well. So I loved styling it and putting product in or doing different cuts and whatnot. So then to think that one day that wouldn't be a thing, it was quite stressful, I think, even from a young age, before you even worry about it. Like I had, Norwood 1, as they describe it in terms of like hairline. I was always super happy. And then when you start to get a little bit older, and I'm honestly saying towards probably late teens, I still didn't have any issue. I didn't notice it. But then I started growing my hair when I was at university. And I had longer hair, probably down to my shoulders.
Oh,
by the
really?
end. Have you not seen pictures?
No, I've never seen that.
I'll dig
my
those
gosh.
out for you. So probably a lot beyond my shoulders, probably down to hip. But I used to curl it.
Oh my God.
And it was like so fierce. People used to be like, I remember one of my girlmates was like, Sunny, your hair looks better than mine. And I was like, why shouldn't it? I was like, why can't I take it?
Because I'm worth it.
Exactly. And I remember when you were talking about your 3 billboards in Holland Park.
Holland Park roundabout. Thank you.
Roundabout. It reminded me of when I was at the bus stop at university. And I saw that picture of Penelope Cruz, and she was doing, was it L'Oreal as well?
Yes, I think it
and
might have
she
been.
had this side profile of this beautiful, luscious, curly locks, dark. And she's so beautiful anyway. She's an amazing actress. And I just remember thinking, oh my God. And I had my long hair and I'd do little pictures in the mirror. I'd be like, look how beautiful my hair is. And then starting to notice, I was like, oh no, like I'm getting like higher, what do you call it?
Is it the cow's lick or
I can't remember. Like this was getting
devil's crown or something like
or
that.
something like that. And I remember just thinking, oh no. So then I'd like wear my hair slightly differently, but it was not noticeable. No one ever. I noticed it. It bothered me.
Yeah.
And then as it progressed through my early 20s, it was fine. Like I cut my hair that it was shorter, and I was really happy with it. But I knew there's a time limit, and I always kept worrying. And then it was one day my friend said to me, I was like, oh, I'm really worried about it. She's like, why? And I was like, what are you worried about? And I said, because I'm going to be ugly. And she's like, if you were going to be ugly, you already would be. And I was like, oh, that's really is that I took real comfort from that, but you find it hilarious.
I'm kind of like, that is comforting, and at the same time, it's kind of...
Is it wrong?
It's actually brilliant, isn't it? If you were going to be ugly, you'd be
You would
ugly
already be
anyway.
ugly. I was like, well, thank God I'm not. Well, that was validation. And I thought, it's true. It's like the way you see yourself is so, like, it felt like it would be a cliff edge and you're no longer worthy. But that's kind of, mine started from a very early age. But how about you? Tell me about yours.
So I'm very similar to yours, to be honest. So my dad's bald as well. And I used to have gorgeous, thin, fine, straight hair. And throughout my teens, it was very like healthy. So I didn't used to put gel in. So my mum was always like, the gel is the devil's use, basically.
Yes.
Like all South Asian mums seem to have an aversion to gel.
They were like, put oil on your hair.
Yeah,
You'll have
and I
beautiful
did.
hair.
I used to put gooseberry oil. I used to use almond oil. If you know, you know. But that actually did my hair so much good. But because it was thin and fine, the oil would kind of like separate it, and like
when you wash it, it would feel full.
It'd feel full, exactly. And when I used to do a blow, the odd time I'd get, kind of use the hairdryer. Oh my God. like I was like, I was worth it. I was definitely worth it. But for me, it's exactly the same as you. Like I had this idea tied to beauty that, my hair is so important. So when it started thinning, it was kind of like, oh no, my hair started thinning. So I started taking biotin.
What age did you notice it from?
So this was about 20. So actually at 23, I found my first grey hair. And I started greying slightly on the sides. So then what I started to do was colour it. And this was just a home dye. And my mum used to dye it for me. And we used to dye it the same colour because then it looked natural. Because it's like, yeah,
not
my
henna.
mum, no. I never used henna. My mum did it once, but then she looked like, it basically used to turn like marmalade colour.
Yeah, it's
and
the wrong colour, isn't it?
Yeah, it just wasn't right. And it used to stink the house up to the high heavens, honestly. It's a beautiful thing, but it has to be used with skill.
Do prints for weddings.
Yes.
Hands. That's it.
Do you know, it suits some people.
No,
like,
it does. It depends
like,
on your skin tone as well, I think.
skin tone.
Yeah.
There's so many of these things to, and also back in those times, we didn't really think. Well, I wasn't really aware of those things. Where I didn't think that, because my skin was quite pale as well. So, like as I've mentioned, like in older episodes, I didn't used to go out in the sun for a long time, so I used to be quite pale. So obviously, with dark hair and a pale scalp,
it would really stand out.
It was dodgy. And like I was like yourself, I used to have the centre part. So I went through my emo phase when I was actually listening to Spice Girls. But I used to have hair down to like there, and then I chopped it off for sixth form and then university. Because also the other thing as well was finding a good barber. Did you ever have that problem?
Dad always took us to one that while we were kids. We'd always go to the same one. I think it was only when I was probably like mid-teens, 14, 15, then I was like, I'm going to Tony and Guy.
Yeah.
It has to be Tony and Guy. I need a style director. It's the only one I'm
Yeah,
going
do you remember there was like style?
There was
and
different
and all they would do
grades.
is like, assault your hair with like hairspray. And like you'd feel so cool and grown up going in there. They'd be like, "Do you want a drink? Do you want like something fizzy or a coffee or something?" You'd be like, "Just water, please!" Like you were so terrified of being charged.
You were, exactly.
And they'd be like, "That's £55. Would you like to tip your hairdresser?" And you were like, "Oh my god, what?" But I used to have a lot of trouble trying to find a hairdresser who understood my hair. So because I used to go to like the barbers, and the barbers isn't the most welcoming space all the time. Could be quite aggressive and. You'd be sat next to like a builder or something, and so you had to wait your turn. There was no like official line or ticket. So like someone would come in who was older.
God, are there places that have tickets?
Well, you'd get a number when you walk in, like
Gosh,
some of them
girl,
were
what
bougie
kind
ones. But most of the places didn't do that, and so like if someone older and more burlier came in, they would just take your place in the queue, and you'd be stuck at the
for it.
and you'd be like trying to read GQ for the millionth time. There'd be
They had GQ though, but they
no, there'd be one GQ, and then there's like the Sun, the Star, the Mirror, and like
God,
all
page
open to
3
page 3.
days.
Yeah, and you'd like they'd have like these dirty calendars up on the wall, and it's strange.
It's not our demographic.
It was not exactly. We were not. So I was so grateful when I did find a good hairdresser, and I was very lucky in my late 20s to go to a trichologist who knew how to cut hair really well. He gave me good advice, and he was always like, "Listen, you are losing it at the back now," and that's where it first started from. So actually, the first place I've kind of discovered my hair loss, you're going to love this. It's obviously it's me. So where else but New York? And I was in Lord and Taylor, which was like a big department store, and I was in the lift, and the lift had loads of mirrors. I remember seeing like there was like some white dust on the back of my head. So I was just kind of like brushing it and doing it more and trying to fix it. And then I realized that's not dust, that's a patch, that's a bald patch. And then it kind of went from there. Then through the pandemic, I didn't cut my hair at all, which was really weird. And then when we emerged from the pandemic, and I went to the barber for the first time, and he cut it, and I felt he had cut too much, but actually I'd lost quite a lot
During the pandemic?
Yeah.
So how long was it between you getting it cut then that it was?
So the last time I had it cut was probably in February 2020, and then I didn't get it cut until I would say 2021.
Wow, in a year then?
Yeah.
A progressive amount of
Yes.
this. Yeah.
But it wasn't in terms of like, it was growing in some places. So like I almost had my little mullet going on. At the top, there was like some bits missing. So then I cut it short, and then I'd go to the barber, and he was always like, "Do you want to shave it all off?" And I was like, "No, I'm not ready for
It's
that."
hard to do.
It was very hard to do. And I used to comb it over. And so for my fashion photos, it looked fine. But with video, it was a bit more tricky. And if it was a windy day or something, I'd always carry a little comb with me. And then eventually it got to 2022, and I went to the barber and I sat down, and I was like, "Okay, so can you just trim here and just do the back and the sides?" And he was a good guy. By this point, I'd built up a good
confidence.
Yeah, and we'd like got a good rapport with one another. And he was always like talking about. He used to call me Pep Guardiola, which is like a football reference.
I thought it was.
Apparently, there's like a football manager called Pep Guardiola who I look like. So if you watch football and you're listening to this podcast, hello, we'd love to have you here. You're very welcome. Yeah, you might want to. Yeah, exactly. Just stay for a bit more. It gets good, I promise. So he like literally combed my hair forward, and he's like, "There's nothing there." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And then, and he said, "So," and then you just hear, he's like, "Should I shave it off?" And I was like, "Just shave it off."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Rrr," and then it was off, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's gone!"
It's just like ripping off a plaster.
It was, and then like everyone was like, "Oh, your hair looks great," but then it started growing back, and then I was like, "You know what? I need to get because I couldn't get used to it because like, in terms of like what I was wearing, all the clothes I'd wear, I always envisioned them with me having hair. Yeah. Sounds really weird,
but it's a big part of identity and also style and appearance.
Massively. And like, when you look at style blogs, they'll talk about like hair and like, what you can do with it, and the hair trends as well. And then eventually, like I got to this stage where I'm at now. So like I do it entirely on my own. You do your own.
I do mine by myself. Yeah. Even traveling for a whole year, I use my trimmer every day by myself.
Oh yes, you've got that because you use the Scott. So you don't do wet shave. You do a dry shave.
No, I use the electric trimmer.
Do you ever do a wet shave at all?
I've never done a wet shave, not even on my face.
Really?
Never used a blade. Never used a blade on these cheeks. I did plenty of these cheeks.
Oh wow, that's amazing! Because I'm a wet shaver all the way. So like I'll talk you through my routine since you all asked. Like we've been begging to find out the comments. Everyone's like, how does he do it? I usually exfoliate first, and then I'll kind of wet it, and then use foam, and then I just shave it myself. And I use a lady's razor because that's a bit more sensitive, so you don't get cuts.
A bit more gentle.
Yeah, and then for under here, I'm just using the regular razor.
Because that's reminded me when we were kids. I remember Dad always used to say to the barber, when we were really young. He was like, don't use you'd get like a proper blade.
Oh yeah, when they do
edge,
the neck, yeah.
and that would sting for me for so long.
Same with me, and it used to go really red, and my mum would be like, you should tell him not to do it.
So
and
Dad used to tell him not to. So after that, when I started to get all the little bum flaps, as we used to call it as a teenager, and I remember thinking, I need to shave it, and eventually made the decision to start trimming.
Yeah.
And Dad was like, don't use. He said, he was very specific with me. He's like, your skin's very sensitive. And I had eczema as a kid as well. But he gave me an electric shaver, and he was like, I want you to use this. And he said, that'll be way more gentle for your skin. So I always use the electric trimmer. I know people say that they're not as close, but I mean, I've got a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow now, but when it's done, I think it's
I never knew that. I always assumed you would do a wet shave.
There you go. See, you can get the same results.
So amazing that your dad helped you. My mum was so I had a moustache until I was about 16. And then when I went to change to sixth form, I was like, I need to get rid of it. So actually the first time I shaved it was my mum helping me. And I used a Bic razor, and I just remember but it worked. But then when it grew back, and then eventually when I grew the beard as well, because like I was like, I started growing a beard like at 30, and then I was like, and now like I can't imagine my face without it.
Yes,
like I feel like it went there, but it arrived.
I did the same thing. I remember when I trimmed mine down really low on the top. And then I thought, let me try a beard out, and I did it. And then I think it was a little bit before I went away, I just decided to trim because I thought I didn't want to have the extra effort of having another trimmer with me while traveling.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd rather just do the electric. But I like the beard. I think it looks good on you, and I like doing it too. It's a nice contrast. It's
supposed to be makeup for men, definitely. I've heard.
True, yes.
So has anyone ever said to you, because it's interesting, so when I in my 30s then, so maybe about 10 years ago, people were saying to me, why don't you go to Turkey and get your hair transplant done? And I know I know some people who've had their transplants done, and it's really good. Like they've done it amazing. Like for me personally, it was never an option, because I always thought that for the amount of money that you could go to Turkey, get it done, because I always thought when I first I thought it's permanent, but it's not.
Oh, it's not.
I think it's like crop rotation. So like
because you'll lose it in other places, but you shouldn't lose the new implant.
Well, I think eventually, I think I might be wrong about this, but I thought that once that grows out, and you might have to get it done again. But I was like, can you imagine paying $5,000 each time to get it done? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just thought to myself, I'd rather save for property.
Yeah, I think it's a good spend. The way I've always thought about it is it depends on the type of hair loss you've got. Like if you had a full, thick, like my hair was always really soft and fine as well, even when I had it. Like it was full when I was like up until probably 20 everywhere, and quite like not heavy, I would say, but like very dense. Yeah. But then after that, it hasn't been even at the back. So I will always have it at the back, and I'll have to trim it. Yeah. But I never thought it would be enough or sufficient to be able to fill in anything else. So I just thought, what is the point? It's like, it just feels like it's not going to achieve the result I want. Yeah. And ultimately, I kind of made peace with it, and I got comfortable with the style I really love my style now. So it's almost, well, do I need it? It's like I think you have to do it for yourself. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are probably not making that decision for themselves. They're too worried about what other people think. Yeah. And it's, from what I have seen when people have had it done, it looks very good, but they also don't have a lot of loss. I've seen them. They've just got like a very high crown here. And then the corners, like, yes, you can fill that in because you've got good hair everywhere else anyway. So it's almost like an enhancing a look rather than actually you have no hair. Yeah. So unless someone came to me and said, look, you can have, like, I used to joke with one of my friends that's like, I want your scalp because you have beautiful hair. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's not really a thing that happens. But that's the only way that it would be effective, I think, or, satisfying for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It is that whole idea. Yeah, for some people, it just looks really, really good. And it is kind of the stage that you do it at. Yes. I also like what you said about, and because that also resonated with me, that whole idea of, you really have to feel comfortable within yourself, because for the first 6 months, I absolutely hated it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like in terms of so many of my clothes that I had, I was like, this isn't working. And then also when I was doing Fashion Fridays, I'm looking at pictures of myself every week. and I'm like, I'm not happy with this, or I don't like this. And what was really funny is like people around me were saying to me, look, it's really good, it suits you.
That's the first thing I thought.
But I wasn't hearing any of that. I was looking at it and thinking, oh no, if only I had hair, I could do this. And if I was doing that, and maybe I should get a wig, or maybe I should think about, doing and then it was there was that turning point where you're absolutely right. You just think to yourself, do you know what? You've just got to rock it. This is what you've got. And this is what makes you you. So, there might be someone, I can't compare myself to 20-somethings like a Zayn Malik or someone who's got, amazing hair.
It's just he won the genetic lottery in that regard. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
And even when you see like older men like with full hair and stuff, you're just like, I love the silver fox look.
Yeah.
And like before I did lose my hair was grey. And like through the pandemic, so my mum and I both stopped colouring our hair entirely. And like my mum's got gorgeous like white hair now, and it's so beautiful. And like I'm so glad that she stopped dyeing.
Yeah.
Also, as well, when I was greying, I was like, actually, I'm kind of
you
into
liked
this.
it,
yeah, because it really suited my skin tone and what.
And what about the alternatives? Because this is the other thing that I started to really look into probably about 10 years ago, when I thought actually I could do the alternative, which is the SMP. Is it? The small tattoos, and I see people with that quite often now, all the time, and it's. I mean, I can tell because I know what it is, but there's a lot of people that say to me, oh, have you noticed that person? Did they ever have hair? Do you know them when they had hair? Because I always see them with this cut and it looks so pristine. And I'm like, and I thought, I don't know them. And I was like, it's a tattoo. So I didn't, I think it obviously makes them feel confident.
Yeah.
And I thought that is like a more, natural way of embracing what's happened in terms of you lost your hair, but then you can have some confidence to at least maybe on a day-to-day have a lower maintenance look. I don't know.
Exactly. It's all about the enhancements, isn't it?
Exactly.
It also made me think as well, like how, so now I don't have to think about my hair anymore in that respect. Like, I just have to shave my head and we're good to go.
Yeah, it's
and
less stress.
Less stress. And also I found that all that energy went into my style. So I was suddenly like thinking, all right, well, if I have to dress differently. So for example, I've got this really nice varsity jumper that when I wore with hair, maybe looked really nice, but when I wear without hair, it just looks wrong. I can't explain it. It just
feels like something's missing.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like me. Whereas when I have like a nice side parting with it, or I have my floppy hair, I look like I'm an Ivy League student, walking through Yale in the autumn or something like that. But yeah, evolving style-wise as well, it really has helped me kind of think about like my outfits, and also the confidence as well, like to walk somewhere, like because people do stare at. I don't know if you find this, like, do you find you get stared at a lot more? When just in general, like when you. Well, I suppose yours was such a long. No, joking. Yours was such a long time ago. You probably don't remember. No, I'm joking. Do you find that like when you had hair, and then when like, would you just get stared at generally?
I don't notice. I've not noticed a change, I would say.
Just me then?
No. In terms of like, I probably haven't got the confidence to think that anyway. So maybe. I don't know, there's other ways. I was thinking back to what you said in terms of like certain things when you wear them, they don't feel like they fit right or they don't look right.
Yeah.
And is there something you've considered to kind of, other than like changing the outfit, what other options have you got? Because could it be a hat? Because I love hats.
Yeah, well, this is it. I'm now into hats. I wasn't into hats before. And then also as well, thinking about scalp health. Because the thing is, you can't neglect it entirely just because you're not, you have to think about. So I stopped oiling, for example, because then I realized that was disrupting the kind of natural oils, and I don't have to oil my hair anymore. Like I said, the most basic things I do on it are just exfoliating before shaving and SPF. Every day, which is so important.
Well. Yeah, it's very good.
It's so important because the one time it got burnt, I was like, never again.
Oh my god, it's so painful.
It really is. Yeah. But you're so right about hats, like and then finding the right hat shape for you, and but it adds that kind of, like I said, it adds the other dimension to your outfit.
I love that because I've always been a hat person. Like even when I was a teenager, I loved a hat. I remember at uni I used to wear this little trilby, and everyone would be like,
at an angle.
Yeah, was at an angle too. As I shifted, and I just remember always loving them. And then I kind of noticed that actually when I was losing hair, I was like, actually, this feels like a comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
But also practically as well, it's so good because I got such bad sunburn too because your scalp is so exposed. So it felt like I need it too. And also it protects you from sun damage. And a lot of people do say, "Oh, you've got good skin." I'm like, because I do protect my skin, when I'm in the blistering sunlight as well. So I think it has practical elements, but I really like the look of hats as well. So it's almost it depends on your face. I don't think everyone can always. It doesn't always suit your look.
Yes.
But I just thought maybe that's another thing to consider into building into your style to give you the confidence to wear the things that I think maybe you probably just have a different perception of how it looks. Because I'd be interested to see the outfit that you don't feel confident wearing without a hat.
Yeah.
And maybe just giving you my thoughts on it, because maybe I
It's
could
true.
look at it differently.
Well, that's the other thing as well. It's so interesting that how when you kind of lose your that for me that particular process was kind of almost coming back, finding myself again, because I found that I just started validating myself for myself. And then suddenly this sounds like such a podcast thing to say, by the way. This is such a trailer. When you watch those trailers, and this is exactly that deep moment that people
inspirational
hit.
Quote.
Exactly. You could just hear the rising music in the back and everything. But it was really true. Like when I did feel confident once again, it was like this surge of, it was like a software upgrade. I just felt so like powerful and unstoppable. I was just like, you can see the sun bouncing off my head and I love it. Like, do you know what I mean? You can tell what time it is if you look at my head carefully.
It's so true, because then as soon as you've accepted it, you've got you don't care what other people think.
No.
Honestly, that was the same thing with me. I remember when it was getting thinner, I used to think, oh my God, I can't stand in this light. I can't be here. Yeah. And you're constantly worried about where you're sitting. And is my head exposed? And I'm like, I do not care. There's so many. The other thing I give myself perspective on is when I think about other people's insecurities, because there's so many people that, often it's joked about. This is one thing we should talk about, people losing their hair. And I've always thought, well, that's really, you have to kind of laugh along, because otherwise it just kind of it brings more attention to it, doesn't it? But it's almost like you wouldn't expect someone who has another, trait that is maybe ridiculed to be you wouldn't expect people to laugh about someone's weight or something else, or maybe there's another reason why people have lost their hair. Mine, and I suspect yours, is male pattern baldness. Perhaps if there was another reason people were losing their hair, and it's not, I don't think people are very sensitive to that sometimes. And I just think, why is it okay to laugh about it? And I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I completely agree. There was almost like this stigma about talking about it. And I remember like when people have spoken about it, and generally they will, I don't know, it never, sometimes it's resonated, but most of the time it hasn't. It just feels like it's very surface level, and people never really talk about the deep things. Because there are some days where I do wish I had my hair back.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'd be like, it'd be really nice to, and also as well, now I'm hypersensitive to other people's hair. So the office I work in, when someone's had a haircut, the first thing I'll be like, you've had a haircut. And they'll be like, how did you know? And I was like, I don't know. I can just tell. Like,
notice a difference.
Or like, I'll be like, you've done something different to your hair. Washed it, brushed it. What have you done? Straightened it using a new product. But but I completely agree with that. Like it's people, that whole kind of baldy and all those kind of things that people say, and they don't really think about.
Okay for hair loss, but then not for other traits.
Other traits, exactly. And I think it also probably marks it insecure. I wonder if it's like a fear thing as well, like, in the sense that we were saying that we feared that we wouldn't be considered attractive without hair. I wonder if people are seeing that in someone else, and that triggers their own,
It does, yeah.
And they're like, oh no, well, if I didn't have hair, I'm going to look, I won't be able to rock it like that, or I'm going to look, which is not the truth at all.
It's not true. And I also think, if let's say people do other things to kind of make themselves feel confident, where I know, having a hair system, or having like, SMP, the tattoos, or getting a hair transplant, it's almost a case of, if that makes them happy, let them do it. Because I hear people being very judgmental about other people's choices. It was a friend of mine once that said, oh, that person wears a wig and it just proves their insecurity. And I'm like, well, that's your outlook on it. Maybe it makes them feel really confident about what they look like when they look in the mirror, because that's the hardest thing. And I've heard other friends say to me, who are, from my perspective, really beautiful, and they're saying to me that they get ready with really dim lighting because they can't bear to look at themselves. This is one of my girlfriends, and I was like, I would never have expected someone to say that, because she's just, from my perspective, beautiful. And I thought, wow, I can relate to that. And when people say to me, oh, you're beautiful, and I'm like, I don't believe it when you think about your own insecurities. But then I taught myself, actually, you've got to learn to listen to other people's opinions when they're positive, because they are usually rooted in truth. In the same way I would look at my friend and say, no, you're gorgeous, and she wouldn't believe me. I thought, then I've got to also believe it when people give me compliments. So There's a little bit of, yes, you've got to sustain your own opinion of yourself.
Yes.
But also take from people that are around you that are saying something nice that it's probably sincere too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so true. I think a lot of people, there are very few people who say it kind of with like, who don't mean it. I think it is genuinely, most people don't give compliments all the time.
No.
So when they do give a compliment, you are doing it. There is something about you.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting you're talking about, obviously we can't talk to this because we can only speak on male pattern hair loss and, but I can imagine for women, it must be very, very, even, very difficult as well, in terms of like, I think in general, hair and beauty is so intertwined.
More pressure on women, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like when you add elements of like so obviously our South Asian culture, if we think of black hair as well and how politicized hair can be as well, not just for black people, but all
ethnic
races. Yeah. And it's I just think there's just so much to, I think, was it Chris Rock who did that film Good Hair? I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen it, no.
It's worth watching. It's really interesting to kind of see the kind of dynamics and kind of politics around it. But I'm so glad that we spoke about this, because this is something that is just, I felt like, it's there, it's always been out there, but I've never really had the chance to like talk about it.
Talk about
like,
it in an open forum. It's like a brave thing for us to do as well, because it kind of shines, it gives a bit of a platform for people to just feel like they're not alone in that situation. Because I see people, there's another friend of mine who's losing his hair at the moment, and he just kind of dropped it in conversation recently. And I thought, well, that's really, I like that. It was very healthy of him, the way he said it. And I didn't notice it until he pointed out. I thought, actually, I can notice it. But I just remember thinking, he's probably got the same trauma that I had, and he's probably spending years worrying about it. And, it's so sad that there isn't something that can make people just not care, or that there's just not a quick fix. I mean, it would be lovely if you could just take, there are treatments like minoxidil. Actually, we haven't even talked about other treatments like medicines. Minoxidil is a big one. I tried that for a long time, and I just felt like it was such a big effort. And I thought, this is not making it's not making a difference to me, even if it was sustaining a little bit more. It just felt like my hair was greasy. And I remember one day deciding, I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna have it, and I remember, when parents say don't put gel in, don't put it, I decided very young, I was like, that's it. I'm going to enjoy my hair for however long I have it. I'm going to style it. I'm going to do what I want with it. I'm going to put product in it, because I'm going to have it for a finite amount of time. I need to live in the moment. Yeah. So that is also the thing I would say to anyone worrying about it. Just enjoy it while you've got it. There may be something else that may impact your looks, and it's completely unrelated to your hair. So we've got to enjoy what we have while we have it.
Exactly. And you know what? I think that's the perfect note to wrap up this conversation. Oh. Yeah. Alrighty, so we are back. So obviously the OnlyFans lounge is being renovated. So I know. I know, and I know people have got their subscriptions and their, but we're
going to have to give them a month free now.
I know, but no one's complained.
I know, but this is how gyms make their money.
People have got that subscription rolling away, and like in the meantime, we can't even find one password.
We can't get the password, so we're not getting the money, really, to be fair. Are we benefiting even though the money's going into our account? Are we really benefiting?
This is very true. If you're an OnlyFans creator, please get in touch and tell us how you get around this, because we would like to know. Yes. But so obviously we're in this Zone 1 Ho Lounge, which is our makeshift Zone 1 Ho Lounge.
Which I like.
Exactly. And then there's obviously a party going on next door, which sounds quite salacious, so we'll be joining straight after this. Yeah, so
they're waiting for us.
They're waiting for us. They literally knocked on the wall twice.
I don't think that was knocking.
But I thought for the lounge we could talk about hair removal, as in terms of like not just your noggin, but your back, your crack, and your like. So for example, I used to get my back waxed quite.
You telling me that,
and my neck as well, and so much so I know.
That
song is like, that should be taught on the national curriculum, to be honest with you. My neck.
Kia.
Yeah. So I remember now I don't even get any hair on my back anymore, because like I was such a regular waxer, like so my darling friend Amy, who's one of my closest friends, and you remember me together, and so she's my beauty therapist, and like most of the time, like the wax, when I first used to go, it used to be so painful. I used to take like 2 paracetamols beforehand. And then afterwards, because we would gossip all the time, like I wouldn't even know, even now, like when I go for the odd wax here and there, and I'll just be gossiping away with the beauty therapist. And then they will say, "Oh, you're done now," and I'll be like, "Oh, that was really quick." And it's like,
Numb now.
yeah, and it's just like 15 minutes has passed, and I was like, we were just nattering away. Like, I know it's such an intimate thing to do, but it's such a thoughtful thing to do as well. Like, you know, you can talk about anything, and it's so weird. So the lady who currently does my back, like, you know, I would talk about her family and her situation, and she'll be like telling me, you know, oh, my son's doing this and my husband is doing that, and it just strikes me as very strange. But do you have any experiences like that?
I very much a self-care kind of person. I didn't even ever get a facial until recently. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about the professional one as well. I was always very keen to do things myself, so I've always been. I like to do, like, even my eyebrows. It's like I want to do them myself.
Eyebrows is another thing. Have you ever had your eyebrows threaded?
I really want to, because the threading is meant to be.
No,
a
but you need
good
to find
way
the
to
right
do it.
person, because, like,
Where do
you know,
go?
Well, this is it. Do you know, back in the day, you'd tell everyone to go to Southall, because Southall used to be the place, and used to get it done for £3. Now you go anywhere, it's like 15 quid, 10 quid. It depends on who you know, and also it's the skill of it. Like, I've used to get some of my face threaded, so I used to get like a lot of kind of long hairs here, and then and when I used to tweezer them out, I'd get like
ingrown.
But so my mum has this lovely Iranian lady who's her friend, and she's also like a master threader, and she would do, like, you know, that for us. But she'd also, like, she once did my mum's eyebrows, and then after that we were making fun of my mum for ages. Because the thing is, like, it's such a delicate thing that you have to find the person who can really get it right, because if they get it wrong, oh my god, that's your face is like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I got burnt like that, so I didn't get it done professionally. But I remember it was before my brother's wedding, and one of my friends, who is no longer a friend, clearly not because of this story. I remember she was like, "Oh, I can thread your eyebrows," and I'd left them. You know, when you leave them before an event, you're like, "I want to get that fresh look." Like, it pops, doesn't it, after a while? And I remember she was like, "I can do it." And I was like, "Okay." And I believed her, and I was people pleaser back in the day, and I let her do it. And this is probably 3 or 4 days before the wedding.
Oh no.
She was doing, and I remember she was like, arching over me, like doing all this weird stuff, and she was like cutting the thread with her mouth, and I was like, "Oh my god, your saliva is getting way too close to the thread that is making contact with my skin. Get away from me." But she did it, and then I was like, "Oh, does it meant to sting?" And she was like, "Not really." And then I looked, and I had all these like superficial cuts on my skin, and I was like, "You have messed up my face before the photo shoot."
Oh no.
Like, you know what? I put Savlon on. I did face masks. I was like, I need to heal the skin.
Yeah.
I came out unscathed, but it taught me you've got to go to a professional. And even when and also don't trust some random.
Oh, never trust around it. Really, and this is what kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Like, you know, with a barber, when someone understood your hair and understood, you know, intrinsically, like, you know, how the shape of your face and all of those things. And this is, you know, like I see on TikTok as well, like, you know, how you've got to angle it so that this, you know, the start of your eyebrows goes to here, and there's so much in it. It's
never do the top. For guide.
Apparently,
Never do the
apparently, top. I think that goes for everybody. You're never supposed to pluck from the top. You only just pluck strays and. But it's very interesting, like, you know.
Anyway, we'll get back to the OnlyFans lounge. It's going to open up soon, I'm sure.
Well, I hope so. Like, you know, I think we might have to write to the council, a letter to the council to get them.
It's not registered with the council. Stop talking about that.
Oh yeah, sorry. See that there. Well, listen, we better wrap this up because that party sounds really fun right now.
Yeah, and there's only one more thing to say.
Oh, go on, say it. Go on, do it.
The podcast is mine.
No, it's mine.